Am I trusting the GITCOM or the GITCOM? During the COVID-19 pandemic, God inspired me to print masks with the inscription GITCOM, GITCOM. The masks were made in black cloth material representing the darkness, sadness, and death the virus brought throughout the world. The lettering that was printed in blue represented hope and blue skies ahead as we trusted in God for deliverance. The white lettering represented peace, reminding us we don't have to war in our minds with hopelessness. The words printed on the mask, GITCOM, were the acronyms for G, God, I, is, T, taking, C, care, O, of, M, me, which means God is taking care of me. God wanted the world to know, despite the devastation of this pandemic, we were to be confident and assured that God is in control, and no matter what it looked like or felt like, our confidence was in GITCOM. God is taking care of me. God was encouraging us to believe and know He is not only the GITCOM, God is taking care of me, but also the GITCALM, GETCALM, which means to calm down and not allow fear to overtake us because we are trusting the GITCOM. That brings us to our subject. Am I trusting the GITCOM or the GITCOM? The pandemic, although devastating as a whole, also identified what our true strengths and weaknesses were in difficult times. It manifested our true hearts. If we were trusting GITCOM with all caps, believing God is taking care of me, or did you revert and start leaning to your own understanding, trusting the GITCOM with small caps, which means going in the courage of myself? The same acronyms, but one empowered by God and the other empowered by self. Our strength compared to God's strength will always be extremely small. For some, because the pandemic did not take them out, or because physical church attendance was restricted, they became less spiritual and became weaker, resorting to old sins or leaning to their own understanding for pleasures. They also began to operate in self-ambitions that promoted their personal ego, disregarding the fear of the Lord in their daily lives or appreciating God's loving kindness toward them during the pandemic. Their hearts should have been, what can I do to please God more? But instead, their hearts were, what can I do to please me more? As we read the story of Joshua and the city Ai in Joshua chapters 7 and 8, we learn we should never take God's blessings and success as our own abilities or strength. At this time, Joshua and the children of Israel had finally crossed over into the promised land Canaan to receive their inheritance as promised to their father Abraham after 40 years of Egyptian bondage and wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. They had an unprecedented time of wars. Joshua and Israel defeated many powerful and large kingdoms that were greater numerically than they were because God was with them. So when it came to this small city called Ai, Joshua's men persuaded him to send only a few soldiers because they felt they were well equipped to defeat them with ease. But once Joshua sent these few soldiers, they were chased and defeated by Ai. Joshua and the elders of Israel then rent their clothes and fell on their face before the ark of God because they knew they had grieved God and wanted to make things right. After they prayed until late in the evening, God gave them the victory over Ai. But they had to realize victory was never from their own strength, but because God was with them. During this pandemic, if God has allowed you to yet remain, you must inherently realize it has never been your own strength that kept you alive, but only the grace of God. Therefore, you should gratefully be living your life accordingly. So I ask you again today, are you trusting the GITCOM large caps or the GITCOM small caps? GITCOM, God is taking care of me.